Miami hiring Jay Lucas comes with a ton of upside, but what are the risks?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC, and writer for Canes County at Rivals. And thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It's a great weekend to be a Miami Hurricane fan. Got the verbal commitment in football from Jalen Seatbelt Waters last night. Miami men's basketball team, I know they had a tough season. I know. But they closed it out with a come-from-behind win against NC State, senior day. Matthew Cleveland goes out with 32 points. We're going to talk about all of this and so much more as Hoodie Girl makes her triumphant return, our hoops expert. And Hoodie Girl, before we get into, because I know, and happy birthday, Matt from Buckets Pod. Happy birthday. And happy belated birthday to my son, who I forgot to wish a happy birthday to on the show a couple weeks back. So I've been trying to apologize for that in a big way.
That should be an extra present for him.
Oh, he got more presents than we can count, Melissa. I mean, it's
you should get him a Hoodie Girl hoodie.
Yes, okay. I'm going to send me the link again after the show.
You may need to grow into it though, since there aren't kid sizes, but
he's freakishly large for a 7-year-old, so don't worry about it. He's about your size already. He'll probably fit into whatever size that you're wearing. So, Hoodie Girl, you are our basketball expert here on the show, and ever since the Jay Lucas rumors started to happen, and then now the hire has been made official, it's finalized. They've already had a press release. He's going to have a press conference on Monday. I really like the hire based on, people that I talk to, but I have mentioned here on Locked On Canes, I hear from a lot of skeptics. Anytime I bring up Miami hiring Jay Lucas, a lot of folks will say, but Donno, it's risky, no head coaching experience. And Hoodie Girl, I want you to help me play a little devil's advocate, because when this move was announced, you were among those skeptics. Tell me why.
First of all, it was because the hire was made before the season even ended. So it makes me question, how many coaches did we look at? There were a lot of mid-major coaches that I thought could have been options. So I was curious as to what our thinking was going after someone who not only has no head coaching experience, but has only been an assistant in college for 7 or 8 years. The second thing I worried about was everyone talked about his recruiting and how good of a recruiter he is. And that's great. But the difference is he's been recruiting as an assistant coach at Blue Blood programs. He was at Duke, and before that, he was at Kentucky. No offense to him, but the logos recruit themselves there. So I'll be interested to see how he does recruiting at still a power conference school in Miami, but a school that's not a hoop school. I mean, a few years ago we were definitely a hoop school, but right now we're in the basement. We're below the basement, and he's gonna have to do a complete rebuild of this program. So recruiting and connections and everything that he has an assistant, I'm hoping that can translate to a head coach. And then my third thing really is just him not having head coaching experience. So it's hard for me to really have an opinion on how good of a hire I think this is. Now, as a human, it sounds like everybody loves him and what he's done as assistant coach so far in his short career. But it's hard for me to give an opinion and say, oh, I love this hire when he's never been a head coach. So that's why I've been a bit skeptical. We talked about it on our pod a few days ago, and I was pretty negative about it when I watched it back, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I probably should have brought some positive things up as well, but it was kind of just like a spur of the moment. Like, this is how I'm feeling. But listen, he's signed, he's our head coach now. So, I mean, I got nothing but love for him and support him. And, we'll be talking about it all off season and see what he does recruiting wise, because he's got a tough job ahead of him.
You bring up valid concerns. I mean, people who listen to Locked On Canes, they know that I tend to be a glass half full type of guy. And that's not because I'm a shill. That's just who I am. Like, I tend to be optimistic about a lot of different stuff. I wonder if I can win you over a little bit though, Hoodie Girl, because listen, you know Miami hoops and college hoops more than me and most of us listening to this. But I did also have a chance to talk to an expert on Duke basketball, JJ Jackson, who is the host of Locked On Blue Devils here on this awesome network. And given the concern, one of the concerns that you brought up, that other people have brought up to me about kind of the lack of head coaching experience. I wonder if this can help win you over. I've got a clip for you, Hoodie Girl, because I asked JJ Jackson the exact question: is he ready to become a head coach? Here's what he had to say. Do you feel that Jay Lucas, is he ready to take this next step and take over his own program?
100%. And truthfully, after every season that he's been with Duke, this being his third, I've been worried that it would be the final year that he's been on staff, because it just felt like it was a matter of time before a school and an opportunity came calling for him. And this is a great one for him to stay within the league, to go and compete against Miami. It's going to be tough for Duke having to go up against him a few times a year when they meet on the hardwood. But just because he hasn't had that first opportunity yet doesn't take away from what he's been able to do on the defensive end of the floor, in particular, leading and spearheading this Duke team as their defensive coordinator. It's been one of the tops in the entire country for the last 3 seasons that he's been on staff. And then the impact that he makes recruiting has been phenomenal. He has been at a couple of really good spots. It's easy to recruit at Duke. It's easy to recruit at Kentucky. He was there with Rick Barnes at Texas. He's been around some really good coaches, but obviously he's learned, and he's done a great job forging those relationships. And I think he's going to get started right away. I mean, the timing of this, Alex, is so eye-opening for so many. It stings from the Duke perspective, but what it should tell Miami basketball fans is that they're really serious about turning this Canes program around.
Now, Melissa, I know that what JJ said there, it obviously does not negate your concern, because he can't change the fact that Jay Lucas has never been the head coach. Like, that's obviously not up for debate, but does it make you feel any better that people cover Duke have kind of feared for the past 3 off seasons somebody was going to poach this guy to be a head coach? And he did say, in his opinion, he thinks Lucas is ready for it. Let
me answer your question with a question. When Mario Cristobal got hired a few years ago as the Miami football coach, and we got Josh Gaddis as our offensive coordinator and Steele as our defensive coordinator, and TVD was coming back healthy and all of these things, what were you saying in the offseason before that season?
Commercial. Let's go to commercial now. No, I mean, you're right. I thought that those were slam dunk coordinator hires. I did.
It's all on paper. And if anything has taught us, Miami football has taught us, is that on paper means absolutely nothing. Listen, I'm glad he has glowing reviews from people that have worked with him. Does he have the pedigree to be a good head coach, a great head coach? Yeah. He's learned under Rick Barnes at Texas. He's been at Kentucky. He's been at Duke. His father was a head coach, or I'm not sure. He might still be head coaching. I'm not sure. I haven't looked completely into his background, but it's all on paper. I'm going to remain skeptical until we see it. And no, I'm not expecting him to, make the tournament and get to the Final Four next season in his first season. Right. I'm just expecting to see progress. And if I see that, then I can start being like, okay, this could work out. Listen, it's a high risk, high reward kind of hire. Bingo. He's a young guy who doesn't have head coaching experience, but has learned under some really great coaches, has been at some really great programs and seen how they've run some things. So if it does work out, then Miami's going to look really, really smart. If it doesn't work out, then we're going to look back and be like, it was a risk that we took that didn't work, and now we got to start all over again. So it's an on paper sort of thing for me. Everyone's saying he's great. I mean, I think Trick Daddy made a video congratulating him or something, and like LeBron and a few other
too.
Guys. Yeah. The Trick Daddy American rapper thing made me laugh. But yeah, no, it's on paper. So that's why I remain skeptical. I've been fooled so many times with other things. It's very different from going from Coach L, who when he was hired in 2011 had taken mid-major George Mason to the Final Four and had been a head coach for years and years, to going from that and having, this guy who's a legend to an up-and-comer with no experience. So for us fans that have been around a long time, we're going to be skeptical. For people who are maybe newer to hoops and the Miami Hurricanes basketball team, they may see this as like, oh, a young, rejuvenizing, like, oh, he can recruit. This isn't Miami football. This is Miami basketball. So it's a bit different. So I'll leave it at that.
And on that note, I want to talk about what has to happen organizationally from the administration down for Miami basketball to succeed again. I know we're down now, but we're 2 years removed from a Final Four run. So we've been really good really recently. What it's going to take to get back to that sort of success. We will talk about Matthew Cleveland's heroics today. Miami comes back down 13 points to at least give us something to be happy about in a disappointing season. And want to have some Coach L appreciation. We'll explain what Hoodie Girl and the crew at Buckets, the wonderful show that she's on, is doing to celebrate Coach L. You want to keep it locked right here, my friends. We're nowhere near done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Your home should reflect your style, and with Wayfair, it's easier than ever to make that happen. Whether you're looking for a simple refresh or tackling a big home project, Wayfair has everything you need in one place. Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find the perfect piece, no matter your space or your budget. From cozy furniture and stylish decor to kitchen essentials and outdoor must-haves, Wayfair has it all, and at prices that fit your budget. I was looking for a new rug to tie my living room together, and Wayfair has so many stylish options at great prices. I was surprised to find everything from storage solutions to patio decor, making it my go-to for all things home. Head over to wayfair.com and find something that's just your style today. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. Thank you for making this Hoops special Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make sure for your next listen, you check out Locked On College Basketball. Isaac Shade and Andy Patton are going to get you ready to fill out your brackets, right? I mean, I know in South Florida, especially in a year when Miami is not going to be in the tournament, maybe you've been procrastinating, studying, getting ready to fill out your brackets coming up soon. They're going to get you ready on Locked On College Basketball. And Hoodie Girl is going to get us ready for all things Miami hoops as well. So when you talk about the recruiting stuff, and I know, you mentioned it, JJ Jackson even said it, that obviously when Jay Lucas, you're recruiting with the Duke logo, you're recruiting with the Kentucky logo, it's just a little bit different, right? But I will say that one of the things that can be a positive about this hire, Melissa, is when we talk about in this day and age, all of the legendary ACC coaches, Coach L included, who have, retired over the last couple of years, usually the common denominator has been like this new era of college basketball. Like it's changed more in the past 2 years than it did in the previous 50 years that Coach L was coaching. And, you want someone who seems to be wired to succeed in that sort of an environment. And I think Jay Lucas is, someone who has now come up in this environment, can hopefully fill that mold, because to win today in college basketball, you not only need really good coaching and really good development, you basically need to be a GM as well, because your players could enter the transfer portal every year. You're looking for players through the portal. One and done is kind of how the top recruits go these days. So do you think maybe at least Jay Lucas, he can fit that profile?
I mean, yeah, he obviously knows how to recruit in this new era. He's been doing it at blue blood schools, and you can see that change in the ACC with the coaches that have stepped down over the years. Coach K, Coach Williams, Coach Bennett, Coach Ham's retiring, Coach L retired this season. It's a younger generation that's having to come in, and you have to recruit not only to bring players in, but you now need to recruit to keep your players there. So it's a whole different landscape. And Miami just needs to invest, and they are doing that. We spent money on this team this year. It just didn't click. It didn't connect. So if Miami's willing to continue to invest and compete with these close to these top tier schools, these blue blood schools, there's no reason why we can't get back to the Sweet 16, to the Elite Eight, to the Final Four. But we'll see. Everything I hear about Coach Lucas is that, he's really good coaching defense, which is what we need, and he's really good recruiting. But can he put everything together on top of that and be a good head coach? We haven't seen it yet, and that's why I'm skeptical. Doesn't mean I'm not going to support him. I'm his biggest fan now because he's.
I know you will.
I'm the biggest fan now. He's the coach, but I still, I would be doing a disservice if I just sit here and tell lies. Like, this is just my opinion. Don't hate. I got a lot of hate for my opinions on the pod or on Twitter, but I've been following this program since I started at school there in 2004. So I lived through the Frank Haith era. So Coach L was a breath of fresh air. So I'm hoping Coach Lucas can lead us even further and get us that natty.
Yeah, I caught the very tail end of the Perry Clark era, which did not go out so well either. So yeah, I was 1 year ahead of you there, Miami. That was not a fun time. Perry Clark into Frank Haith, and yeah, and listen, with Jay Lucas, at least from his side of it, in taking the job and being enthusiastic about it, they have, the administration, I should say, has really given him guarantees on the type of investments they want to make in the program. So I think that's a good thing because, again, no matter what we think about Jay Lucas and what the concerns are, this is someone who probably could have held out for other jobs if he didn't want to be at Miami. I don't think he had to take this job, but they did have to sell him on the sort of investments that our administration wants to make in the program. So I think that should be a positive sign. I want to put a bow, Hoodie Girl, on this season. Miami had senior day today, and it feels good to win your final game and go out on a high note. And I feel great for Matthew Cleveland. Gets the 32 points, equals his career high. Miami comes back from behind in this one. Just talk a little bit about, a rough season, but at least we can have some positivity into the weekend with the new coach on the way.
Yeah, I mean, I want to shout out all the guys that stuck through to the end. We had multiple players leave this team mid-season. We had our head coach retire mid-season. So to the guys on the court today that you could tell were playing their heart out and got us the win, I'm very appreciative. Anyone who's followed my Twitter and who's followed Buckets knows I'm a massive Matthew Cleveland fan. I took so much crap in the offseason for saying that he's going to be our best player and that, stop hating on him because he was getting so much crap last season for no reason. And he played his heart out. I think he only missed like one game, or he missed, I think, one game at the beginning because he was injured. I think it was an exhibition game, and then he missed another game in the middle of the season. But he led us in scoring. He had like 7 games in a row with 20 plus points. A few of those were 30 plus points. He did everything he could to keep us in games, especially when it looked like nobody else could do anything. So yeah, I'm sad that I'm not going to see him in a Canes jersey next year. I actually really want to get that new orange jersey that they had this year and get a 0 jersey. I don't know if Adidas is ever going to release that, but hey. But yeah, he was the heart and soul of this team. I'm sorry that he had to kind of go out in a losing season because he came to Miami to win. He came to Miami after the Final Four from FSU and said, I want to win. I see Coach L's vision. And then it just didn't work out. And also kudos to Brendan Johnson. He had a rough season. I had really high expectations for him because he was kind of a stretch 4 at ECU. But his 3-point shot was just not falling today. He scored in double digits today and had the game winning putback slam. So shout out to him for going out on a high note. But yeah, it's been a rough season, but it's nice to end with a win. Most teams don't do that because you usually end it like losing in your conference tournament or losing in the NCAA tournament, except for whoever wins the NIT and whoever wins the Natty. So at least we can go out on a high note because a lot of the team is seniors. So I don't have to post my sad swing gif today.
Well, when we come back, I want to give Hoodie Girl the opportunity to talk a little bit about Coach Laranaga and what her and the Buckets crew have cooking for him later tonight, Saturday night. You want to keep it locked right here. We're not done yet on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen and your first watch today. And if you're behind on episodes, I've been busy this week, talking spring football, first week of practices, had a couple of special recruiting episodes with Ben Congdon committing to Miami on Monday, the offensive lineman from Ohio, and Jalen Seatbelt Waters, the 4-star defensive back out of Armwood High School. Armwood to the U, hashtag it. We had an episode for him. So we've been very, very bad. Like in the past 7 days, I think we've had like 12 episodes. I'm finally going to sleep later on tonight. But before I sleep, I will be watching a tribute that Melissa, Matt, and Vish from Buckets have put together. The three of you are big-time fans of Coach L, as am I. I will defend Jim Laranaga to the death. I know some of the haters were like, he left the team high and dry. He quit on us. I will defend Coach L to the absolute death. And I was telling you off air, Melissa, I've covered a lot of coaches and a lot of great people in this town, like covering not just Miami Hurricanes, covering basically every pro sports team in town. I'm, during all the time I've been working in media. And I don't think I've ever covered somebody, maybe Katie Meyer might be the other one, as personable as Jim Laranaga. But Coach L, probably the most personable of all of them. And he means a lot to this community.
Yeah, and you mentioned Katie Meyer. She named our pod, and she's been on our pod a few times.
Yeah.
She's the best also. Coach L's a little harder to get a hold of. But yeah, Coach L is the best. What he's been able to do for us in the last 14 years for Miami basketball, multiple Sweet 16s, 2012-2013 season, 2015-2016 season, led us to the Elite Eight in 22, and then to the Final Four in 23. Just ACC championships, tournament championships. What he's done, I mean, for a school that's not known for hoops, he turned it into a hoop school for a few years there. But yeah, me and the guys on Buckets, we've been working on this since he retired the end of December, reaching out to people, and we put together a little tribute video. You'll see some familiar faces on it, just wishing Coach L the best. And that's going to get released on the 5 Reasons Sports Network at 6:00 tonight. Today's Saturday, so in about 45 minutes, because it's like a little past 5. But yeah, we've been working hard on this. Vish did an amazing job with the editing, and I didn't realize how many contacts Matt has. He lives in California, but I swear he knows more people than I do, and I've been in Miami like my whole life. I don't know how they manage. I just come up with an idea and they just run with it. So kudos to the two guys, to my two besties on Buckets, because they worked hard to put a lot of this together. I just throw ideas at them and they make it happen. So yeah, 5 Reasons Sports Network. Look for the Coach L tribute. We'll post it on. I'll post it on my Twitter, but also on our Buckets Twitter as well. Buckets_Canes. So yeah, leave comments, and Coach L, best basketball coach in the history of our school. I'm expecting a statue or naming the court. Him and Coach Meyer both deserve it.
I would love to get both statues. I want to have, a Coach L like on one side of the entrance to the Watsco Center and Katie Meyer on the other side. I think they both deserve it. I really do.
Put their names up, like the Laranaga Meyer Court, something what they both have done for our programs in the last 15 years ish. I think Coach Meyer was there 19, leading us to our first Elite Eight. There needs to be, they need to be etched in history somewhere around the Watt for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, awesome job as always by Hoodie Girl. So happy to have Hoodie Girl back on with us. Follow her on X at the Cooler Mel B. Follow us at Locked On Canes. And I hope you guys appreciate the hoops content. And it's going to be exciting. We're going to get a press conference soon from Coach Lucas. We're going to give you some coverage of that. Obviously, we're going to give you a ton of football, even though Miami is off from spring practice this coming week. We're going to still have stuff to talk about, because I'll be honest, I'm still unpacking some of the things that I saw at spring practice those first few days. So we'll have a lot more to come this week on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.